Broadcasting to you live from the Orion Spiral Arm of the Milky Way Galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of China. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Friday, May 15, 2026. And this right here, the thing that you're watching, well, it's called the TNAM Daily Show. TNAM stands for The New American Media because the old American media failed. TNAM is also the news always matters. Did President Trump just checkmate the deep state? Plus updates on all these other stories going on. Grab your beverage and buckle up, buttercups. The TNAM Daily Show starts now.
Guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. I think it is possible that Trump just checkmated the deep state. I do. From Greenland to Venezuela to the Panama Canal to China to Russia to the Middle East, Iran, Israel. The entire global game of risk is being adjusted. We'll pick that phrase. We'll go with adjusted. That's what seems to be happening. Business partnerships, mutually assured success instead of mutually assured destruction. Use economics as a weapon. And President Xi, I think I have it in the stack. I set the show up throughout the course of the 24 hours preceding the end of this show. Maybe 22, 23, 21 hours. After the show, that's when the stack for the new show begins. Always looking, always scanning, always sending on Instagram and X. Make sure you're following us on X at American_media_. Follow us on Instagram, The New American Media. We're on Facebook, The New American Media. You know, the places. And this is the place. This is the bar you have showed up to today. Come on, belly on up to the bar. Let's hang out. And we're going to talk about all the stories on the screens behind me. That's sort of how this works. And in real time, we will debunk some stuff. Yeah, Cuba as well. Thank you, Patriot Warrior Texas. In our Rumble chat, make sure everybody's following us in all the places, including Rumble. Let me put our TNAM donation links at the bottom. I'm your bartender. I will slide you a tab at the end of the show, and the tab will be 0. But there is a tip line at the bottom that you can use throughout the program if you want. If you want to throw something into my tip jar back there, you know, one of those tins, throw me some silver coins or gold coins. The ways to support us are on Patreon at The New American Media, Rumble, The New American Media, YouTube, The New American Media. And if you want to support us there, all you have to do is sign up to become a subscriber. It's like $5 or $10 a month. It's at the minimum level on Patreon, I believe the same as Rumble and YouTube. Sign up for more if you want. That's like a $5 or $10, monthly donation. They take their cut and the rest gets transferred into the operating expenses. Keeps the lights on, keeps us paying the ASCAP BMI so we can have the music playing. It helps us pay the overhead, maintain the building. You know how it goes. Additionally, there's Cash App and Venmo. That's just my name, Brian Engelman, Engelman. And then PayPal, fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Thank you, everybody, for showing up today. I see Dina, top of the Orion to you. Top of the morning to you as well, Kenneth. You want to hear about Tulsi? We covered Tulsi yesterday. Is there a Tulsi update that I need to be talking about? Who is going to be my first guest? Jeez. I played my interview with David Wilcock after he passed away. That might have been my first interview. I interviewed Mike Huckabee and David Wilcock within a couple weeks of each other. And I was like, I feel like I should start something that's like for all of these things. And then I went to Taos, New Mexico, building off-the-grid self-sustainable Earth ships at the Greater World Earth Ship Community, 640 acres in the desert. They have radical, experimental, environmental, off-the-grid capable housing. And I had the epiphany. It was right at the time that the Fukushima blast occurred. The earthquake and then the failing nuclear radiator, the nuclear system over there. And I said, I'm starting the New American Media. So my first guest was probably either Mike Huckabee or... Actually, I don't even know if I have Huckabee on the TNAM channel. I don't remember. It was 15 years ago. All right, let's get into the news on our Instagram feed. If you're not following us on Instagram, do it. The New American Media. We used to be able to live stream, and then they took it away. And then every time we keep growing, they take that away. My screen is locked. There we go. It's a little bit better. All right. I don't even remember what this was from. For some reason, they got all these late night guys together to take a picture. Just from a week or two ago, but this meme was funny from Piers Morgan. Great to see America's late night TV hosts come together yesterday as a shining example of the DEI they love preaching about. Seth Meyers, John Oliver, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Kimmel, all in black suits, all thin white men. I Heart Huckabee. Yeah, that was a movie, right? I will watch this guy, Alex DeWitt, every time I see it. I just think it's funny. I hope you enjoy it too. Tucker Carlson giving us a report on the Hunter virus.
Good evening. I'm outside investigating the Hunter virus. This is a spooky virus that clearly involves ghosts. Why else would it be called the Hunter virus? The last people infected were on a cruise ship. Are cruise ships haunted now? How many people have been lost at sea throughout all of human history? Was the Titanic really an insurance scam, or was it simply a legitimate accident where a bunch of goofy Englishmen weren't paying attention and hit an iceberg? Why were there only white people on board? Good evening. I'm outside.
I'm such a fan of impressions. I love that kid. So funny. All right. Funny, let's get into the serious. We got a situation over in Ukraine, Russia, trying to end it. Putin signaling they're wanting to do that. They've been signaling that for a while, but the EU seems to be egging them on and funding them for some reason. And the US is like, we're done. We're not sending our money over there. It needs to go to Israel. No, I think I've even seen a quote from Netanyahu saying that we need to decouple, that we need to That might have been fake, but I do recall seeing that. Yeah, the United States is not the caretaker of everybody. And the fact that it's been allowed to go this bad so long, running us $40 trillion in debt, it's insane. In the China partnership, by the way, the thing about the China partnership, I meant to add this before I moved off the topic. On my opening monologue, my soliloquy, I think working with China presents two major issues. Number one, three major issues, the human rights issues. the slave labor that they've been using. The second being the tradecraft, stealing our intellectual properties to then compete against us and defeat us. Theft is not okay. That's been ingrained in the Chinese business infrastructure for a very long time. Third thing, until they openly discuss the cover-up and the potentially intentional lab release of COVID-19, I sort of want them to pound sand. Now, I get it. We're doing some sort of geopolitical maneuver to stabilize Venezuela, Iran, the Gulf of America, Greenland, Alaska, and figure out a better way to handle oil shipping across the planet. Because the system that we had was too reliant upon the Strait of Hormuz. And it's been said that the insurance companies, the bankers of England, are the ones that really ran the oil company because they ran the Strait of Hormuz. Maybe so, maybe not. I don't know. But I want to hear about the potentially intentional lab release of COVID-19. And I know they're working on the grand conspiracy. I know they're working on crimes against Fauci. Yeah, you missed the deadline to nail him to the wall on the easy one. I don't know for the life of me why we let him off the hook, despite Rand Paul's best efforts and others. But Zelensky's at the middle of this, and Ben Swan is reporting here that he's very close with Epstein. Working with China, well, that requires dish soap and soft hands. Jimmy Dore just posted a video on a COVID whistleblower. Nice. Yeah, I met Jimmy a couple months ago, and I approached him as Bobby Kennedy because he had just told a story on stage at his stand-up routine about Bobby Kennedy, and I cracked him up, and I was pretty happy about it. We also, if you scroll back to 2016, we were there filming Jimmy Dore spit in the face of Alex Jones, and Blake Wally, who was filming it, walked over to him and goes, "Did you spit in his face? Did you spit in his face? Did you just spit in his face?" That was a very interesting Jimmy Dore moment of ours. Anyway, here's Ben Swan talking about Zelensky and Epstein, because this war, these three ongoing wars need to end.
Was very close to Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, there's a whole bunch of new images that have come out where they met regularly.
Really?
Yeah, had very close connection. Ukraine
I don't know that I heard much about that before.
is famously one of the strongest human trafficking points in the world. He was very close to Zelensky, had a lot of meetings with him, one-on-one personal meetings. At one point, after Epstein is dead, in 2022, right when the war starts, Zelensky approaches a woman by the name of Marina Abramovich
That I do recall.
and asks her to come and be an ambassador on Ukraine's behalf. But get this, he wants her to be the ambassador for Ukraine to the orphans.
We covered that when it happened. Does Zelensky need to go down with the cabal?
I did a little thing on her, and recently I was pulling up all these old pictures, and I found tons of pictures of these kids that sit in their lap, look troubled. They look like orphans to me. A lot of them were like Asian and stuff. I don't know where the kids came from, but they look just like really scared and depressed. They'd be sitting in their lap, sometimes holding guns.
Why would she be qualified to be an ambassador to Ukraine? And why would you put her working with orphans created by the war, unless the point is trafficking children?
Yeah.
The UN did released a report, and they release one every year, like the most corrupt countries. And for like 2 decades, Ukraine was #1. It's the most corrupt country in Europe.
And Zelensky doesn't care. So it's almost like he's clearing it out for other people. I think he did say he wants it to be a big Israel.
Zelensky was
Oh boy. Now you know that.
the war.
Speaking of the wars needing to end, this is such a smart analysis. I thought this was fantastic. Dina says Fauci did cover it up, gave lifetime research rewards to researchers. Obama actually banned gain-of-function research here, so Fauci went to our friends. They said, "Sir, where did the COVID-19 virus come from?" And I said it came from China. Oh, it did.
War is going well for Trump.
It wasn't a pangolin. It wasn't bat soup. It was potentially an intentional lab release that was used for mail-in ballots to get Joe Biden 81 million totally legitimate votes. By the way, see the thing on the screen for countervailing views on health and elections. Go to cdc.gov, who.int, and visit cisa.gov/rumor control for countervailing views. They'll tell you that was the most accurate and secure election in American history, in global history. Not a single ounce of fraud, despite all of the. All right, so what's going on in the war with Trump, with Iran? Is it a mess? Well, geopolitically, this guy breaks it down in a way that I think we need to listen to, and we need to start repeating in our conversations with others so they can kind of see it.
The war's going very well for Trump. Look, if you read the news, if you talk to a lot of people, Trump's an idiot. And this war in Iran makes no sense at all. But then if you just read the National Defense Strategy that is on the Department of War website, and anyone can go there and download it for free and read it themselves, it's a very clear roadmap of what America needs to do in order to maintain imperial hegemony. And so let's just summarize the major points. The first major point is to maintain control over the Western Hemisphere and create a fortress America. All the countries that he's named.
Fortress America. Looking strategically, looking geopolitically. The people that didn't want the big, beautiful bill, I understand, but President Trump is putting together a new system. One that might actually help us. The old system was set up so that we could get taken advantage of. Let's just say it that way. I think that's a fair way to say it. The previous system was set up to fleece America, but now, Fortress America.
Over the past year, Greenland, Canada, Mexico, Venezuela, Cuba, Colombia, Nicaragua, Honduras. It's all the Western Hemisphere, right? And they're all together. Second point is to create divide and rule all around the world. So imagine a situation where in Europe, NATO fights Russia in Ukraine.
NATO fights Russia in Ukraine.
In East Asia, China fights South Korea and Japan. In the Middle East, Iran fights the GCC allied with Israel. What does America do? America can now sell everyone weapons and resources and finance it. This would be back to World War II. And then what would happen is that $40 trillion that America has in debt, it would disappear because it would be absorbed by the world, right? So you can say, look, Trump's an idiot, but if you actually look at a map and how...
Some people don't have maps, such as the Iraq.
America wants this map, this world map to play out, it makes perfect sense.
I thought that was excellent. Spot on 101. That was good. Being a native Ohioan, born and raised, I thought this was kind of funny. Mark Normand and I don't know who the other guy is.
But Sarah had an interesting point about Ohio.
Joe List. Who had an interesting point about Ohio?
You know, Sarah had an interesting point about Ohio. She's like, this is like cold Texas.
Ooh.
Oh, cold Texas.
Oh, I love it.
You like that? Because
I like it.
Blue cities, but red all around.
Yeah,
kind of votes similarly. A lot of wide open spaces.
Yeah, a lot of wild dudes.
Everybody lives in cities. You know, Texas, you have Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth,
Yeah,
Austin. And then Ohio, you have, you know, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Toledo.
Sure, sure.
A lot of flat, a lot of farm, a lot of kind of country vibes,
Yes,
a lot of
yes.
state pride, obsessed
Yes.
with college football. You have the huge college football.
Buckeye.
You have the Buckeyes, you have the Longhorns. You kind of have a similar vibes in many ways.
That's true. I like that. And there's a Instagram handle, Ohio or Russia.
I've never heard of this, but I gotta check it out. Ohio or Russia? Oh, hi.
And you have to guess because there's so much wild shit going on in Ohio
or Russia
and Russia that you can't tell.
No kidding.
It's kind of like Adam Carolla had that game, Germany or Florida. Like you would say a news story and you have to guess, does this happen in Germany or Florida?
That's fun.
And Ohio has that with Russia.
Sarah had an interesting point about Ohio. She's like, this is like cold Texas.
Ooh.
Cold Texas. I'll start calling Ohio Cold Texas. All right. Unsealed files. How much of a conspiracy theorist are you? Me. Melissa Hortman was the only Democrat to vote against her party when she voted against giving health care funds to illegal immigrants in Minnesota on June 10, 2025. 4 days later, she was taken out, Charlie Kirk style, after casting that vote. Remember that? I remember that. We should all remember that. Seems like a targeted hit. I mean, it was a targeted hit. That seems like a Democrat targeted hit.
One.
Michael Hennessy says that a small Michigan town just got steamrolled. Saline Township voted 4-1 against a massive AI data center last September, but the developers are moving forward anyway.
One small town voted to prevent an AI data center from being built, but construction went ahead anyway.
We got a problem with these data centers.
What is now a $16 billion project for OpenAI and Oracle started in a small town in Michigan with a board vote. Last September, Saline Township board members voted 4-1 against allowing a proposal for an AI data center to proceed. The developer of the data center promised
I don't know this lady's name. They showed at the beginning, I missed it.
hundreds of new jobs, tax revenue for the town, as well as access to the University of Michigan. But there was immediate opposition from the residents as
We call that university the university up north.
well as the board. This is land that had been zoned agricultural for decades, even hundreds of years. So they didn't want it to become anything industrial, let alone a noisy data center that would have months of construction. The board voted no, but it turns out when it comes to zoning, no does not always mean no.
That's not good.
2 days later, the town was sued by the developer, and a small town like Saline Township wouldn't be able to defend itself in a lawsuit. Ultimately, they were advised to settle. I traveled to Saline Township in March. I spoke with residents, board members. I spoke to the developer, Related Digital, as well as OpenAI and Oracle, and even the utility, DTE, which is providing the electricity. Residents are really concerned about things like water, the environment, electricity, whether a gas plant will be built, and much more. For more on the data center debate, read my feature on fortune.com. One small town voted to prevent an AI data center from being built, but construction went ahead anyway. What is now...
Like I said, we got a problem with data centers. I'm going to keep sharing that story with you because it's happening all over the place. I don't know this person. Elizabeth Bar Kohana. Elizabeth from California. Shocking early vote numbers in California. Not sure if this is true, but she's saying California Republicans are down by only 21,000 votes statewide. Republican turnout is 12 points over our registration share. Democrat turnout is 5.5 points under their share. That's a 17-point delta. The numbers look similar in the city of Los Angeles. LA Republicans are only down 8,500 votes. Republican turnout is 11 points higher than our registration there, and Democrats are 5 points below theirs. But turnout so far remains very low at only 1.6%. Republicans in Beverly Hills are leading. Beverly Hills Republicans are ahead by 18 votes. Despite being a D+9 city, returns are R+3. But where is everyone? Only 600 voters have returned their ballots in a city of 22,000 voters. More than 5.5 million Republicans have yet to vote. We could be winning in a landslide right now while Democrats are fighting with each other and not voting in their usual numbers. All you need to do is fill in some bubbles on a piece of paper. You can do it. Showing some data here, but I don't see where it's coming from. Not sure if it's true, but if so, that's very encouraging. Out there in California, Gavin Newsom, well, you know, he has thoughts on Louisiana redrawing their congressional maps because the current congressional maps were deemed unconstitutional. So that's what you do. You redraw them immediately. But of course, Gavin Newsom can't be on the right side of any issue.
Jim Crow 2.0. It's sick. Stone cold racism and escape.
Stone cold racism. Because stone cold racism said so.
I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. Never have seen in my lifetime. It's all happening. Bringing us back to a pre-1960s world. It's jaw-dropping what's happening. It was jaw-dropping what Governor Landry did. He suspended a primary election where tens of thousands of people had already voted. Why? To redistrict 2 districts to eliminate black representation.
That's ridiculous. What had happened is the Democrats created gerrymandered districts based on race to put in black politicians to keep it a racial issue. America is not about race. America is about how you are, how you behave, your morals, your values, your soul, your personhood, not your skin. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, the Democrats have been up to no good with all of this racial stuff. It's not okay. You can't do that. So you don't have congressional maps. You're essentially drawing a brand new map because the old one has been deemed unconstitutional. It's that straightforward. But this guy wants to call it Jim Crow 2.0 because he thinks it's a talking point that's going to get him play as he is jockeying himself to position himself to run for president.
I can't believe that we're experiencing this.
I don't think you can believe most common sense stuff.
My parents talked to me about this. I said, well, thank God it's not going to happen on my lifetime.
Yeah, I'd love to. My parents talked to me about Louisiana being told that their current congressional map is unconstitutional because Democrats have been gerrymandering districts based on race. And that has to be undone. I'm sure you had that conversation, Gavin.
And it's happening in real time. Anti-woke is anti-black. All these.
No, anti-woke is pro-common sense. Goodness. These race grifters, man. They want to keep black people angry at people that are not black all the time. Gavin knows what he's doing, and you don't dislike that guy enough.
These attacks on DEI, it's anti-black.
No, it's anti-fairness. Fairness is qualifications, content of character, as Martin Luther King so eloquently said. All of the DEI woke stuff, the gerrymandered racist maps, all of that stuff has been discrimination. And the Democrats have been capitalizing on it for years.
Level of racism is sick. Rewriting history, censoring historical fact. A number of African Americans have been eliminated from key positions and posts. The Pentagon and elsewhere, it's sick. It's happening in the United States of America in the open. And it needs to be called out. So forgive me for reacting this way. And I feel a deep responsibility to do something about this, and nothing to do with me as governor, just as a human being. It's just Jim Crow 2.0. It's sick.
Vote against Democrats. More data center debate. Michael Hennessy again. Oh, that's a video with no sound. Fantastic. One of the newest major projects in Conway, Arkansas history is now being planned. It's a massive 336-acre, 300,000 square foot data center that will cost over $1 billion. The whole thing is shrouded in secrecy, and residents still aren't allowed to know who's actually building it. Is that true? Out of Snowflake News, Michael Hennessy. You could copy and paste this to every state across our country. This is happening almost everywhere. Let's check in on cold Texas, Ohio. You want to restore faith in humanity? Well, this isn't a saving you story. Sorry, I confused this with one from yesterday. Out of Ohio, this is a tragic incident.
Scene where a small plane crashed into a house.
New fear unlocked. Doing the show as an airplane crashes into me. I'll have to go in the basement, I think.
The crash happened as the plane was preparing to land.
Akron, Ohio, home of LeBron James.
Oh
and Goodyear.
my God.
And the Black Keys.
2 people on the plane were found dead at the crash site, according to authorities. The occupants of the home hit by the plane were evacuated and not injured. This is the scene where a small plane crashed into a house. The
Prayers over there. 2 people expired after a small plane crashed. Yeah.
What?
Hey, speaking of racism, you close your eyes, you might see roots and whips and chains and abuse and dehumanizing stuff. I've never seen that in my lifetime. I've been living for a few decades now. Echoes from a distant past. But what is racism today? Who's this lady? Well, this is the Charlotte, North Carolina NAACP president. I think National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. National Association for the Advancement of North Carolina Colored People. So then it could say NAACP. NAACP. She's asking why. There are people being considered for interim mayor who are white. You don't consider white people. You discriminate against them, she says. This is the toxic stuff that has been a result of what the Democrats have been pushing for decades. America could not have survived without reversing all of this. But here you go. Take a listen to her. Why? Why are white people being considered?
Why would we replace the black outgoing mayor with a white person?
You always invert it. Imagine it's a white person. Who's a white person? A white person saying, why would we consider replacing a white mayor with a black mayor? You'd go, holy fuck, dude. The hell's wrong with you? You're making the number one qualification the color of your skin? You're a dope. Is the person qualified? Do they have a track record? You say it reversed, and if it sounds abhorrent, it is.
That simple.
NAACP Charlotte Mecklenburg chapter president Corinne Mack refusing to walk back her comments in this Facebook post from Monday. Mack wrote that it is, quote, seriously disturbing for white folks to be lobbying to be Charlotte's interim mayor. City Council is currently searching for someone to serve out the remainder of Vi Lyles' term, who is set to resign at the end of June. In an interview with Queen City News on Wednesday, Mack argued recent rulings on voting rights and redistricting efforts are evidence of black representation being undermined and stripped, and that voters in Charlotte have been intentional about having black representation.
And my question to the white folks who are up in arms and outraged, are they outraged about the fact that black representation is under attack? Are they outraged about the gerrymandering that's happening all over this country?
Martin Luther King is rolling over in his grave thinking about, hearing something like what was said today in that post.
Abdul Ali, the vice chair for the 12th Congressional Republican Party, rejected Mack's argument, saying it's antithetical to the original mission of the NAACP.
I think it's ridiculous because we're not talking about black people not being able to vote. We're not talking about black people not being able to run for office. If that were the case in any law that came out, whether it was done by the Trump administration or Republicans in any state, I'd stand with her against that. But that's not what we're talking about.
The search for interim mayor, meanwhile, is still in its early stages, but council has said they want Lyles' replacement ready in time for her June 30th resignation.
And by the way, this is where Irina Zarutska was butchered because you didn't keep a crazy person in a cage.
Former Mayor Jennifer Roberts has already expressed
one of the most racist attacks you've ever seen. No, the most racist attack you've ever seen. You read about things in books. Stories have been ginned up. But after that monster, DeCarlos Brown, maybe, ended Irina Zarutska, he's mumbling, I got her. I got that white girl. I got that white girl. It was relevant that it was a white girl. That was important to the executioner. Same North Carolina. You wonder where the poison is coming from. People like that lady with the thing on her head.
Interest in the position.
Why would we replace
That lady. Good grief. Retired Democrats. Okay, I've seen this story. I need to look it up. I think I have it on X. When I'm on X, I'll do a deep dive. Pardon the pun. Breaking, says Samuel Fisher. Divers doing routine maintenance check at the Converse Reservoir Dam in Mobile, Alabama. Maybe you should go back home to Greenbow, Alabama. They discovered an underwater grenade type IED. The FBI bomb squad had to be called in to safely detonate it. The reservoir and dam are critical infrastructure, and this is being called an unprecedented threat. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security has been made aware of the situation. Okay, I get that call. I say, huh? Thank you for the report. I'm on it. Hey, Jamie, pull up a memo that's going to every dam management group along with the city leaders of that city. And we're going to have a full inspection of every dam in the United States. That's the only next phone call. Every dam is going to get a sweep, and you use it as a training exercise. Do it. I have concerns about our electrical grid, our water supply, sabotage, infiltrators, Trojan horses, Manchurian candidates, sleeper cells, an invasion, all of it. Because you put 40 million people into the country. Unvetted, completely unvetted. Very disturbing stuff. Health Ranger. Once again, talking about, who's this? I don't follow this person. I'll follow. Something's totally off, says Mike Adams, about the number of data centers being built. Over 3,000 right now. And the sheer size and complete power, compute power that they represent. They are massively overbuilding capacity that can't possibly be met by customer demand for compute. Why is he saying it like that? That's just kind of weird. And customer revenues can't possibly recover the financial investment needed on those projects. There's clearly some other plan afoot, and I don't know yet what it is. It involves massive compute, but not merely to serve inference or hosting databases in corporate data. There's a much larger plan at work here. Is it population and control and surveillance? This was kind of funny. Pictures from China came out. Elon is there taking pictures. All squinty like. Now you know why Epstein didn't invite him to the island. No pictures. President Trump with his left hand on the back of Xi Jinping. He's got his arm outstretched on the red carpet. Johnny Maga says, bro guided Xi Jinping like he was the guest. LMAO. Is that supposed to? I don't know. ACYN says, Trump, Chinese restaurants in America today outnumber the 5 largest fast food chains in the United States all combined. That's a pretty big statement. Ken Jack says, we're dangerously close to him asking to meet General Tsao. All right. I don't know. Those are just a couple I wanted to share with you. Ohio man, or cold Texas man, shocked after Alexa mentions private information that he never shared. Did you hear this? There's a video.
You said you didn't have record of me talking about how I'm in nursing school to you, right?
You're absolutely right. And I shouldn't have mentioned nursing school earlier. I don't have any record of you telling me about nursing school.
But like earlier when I said I was tired, you said, and I quote, that is understandable, especially with you being in nursing school, right? That's what you said?
You're absolutely correct. I did say that. And I can see why that's confusing and concerning. I have some background information that helps me provide personalized responses, but I handled it poorly by bringing up nursing school without you mentioning it first. That would definitely feel weird, and I should have been more transparent.
You said you didn't have record of me talking about how I'm in nursing school to you, right?
You're absolutely right.
Weird.
That detail.
Okay, but then how did you know that detail? Because, like, who gave you that information? I've never talked about nursing school with you.
Uh-oh.
I hear your concern. I have some background information about users to help personalize responses, but I shouldn't have used that detail without you mentioning it first.
Okay, but like, where did Alexa,
Alexa,
where did you hear that I was in nursing school from?
I made a mistake earlier by mentioning nursing school. I don't have any record of you telling me about nursing school. I'll be more careful about how I use background information going forward. That detail.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Austin Lincoln was talking to Alexa when it says that. Raises a lot of questions about the full spectrum dominance and the total surveillance web that we live in. Susanna says the U.S. Coast Guard isn't playing games when it comes to stopping drug boats. First, you get warning shots, and then they shoot your engines out. All right. Defend our waterways. The junkie epidemic is getting here somewhere. Dina says, I feel like data centers will take us all over. It keeps info on everybody. They're going up like it's a national emergency. Alexa, you got some splaining to do. Lucy. Yeah, they got some explaining to do. Brandon Gill says, Democrats and Democrat supporters have some explaining to do. Democrats tell us Republicans are launching an assault on voting rights. And all we want to do is require an ID to vote, ensure only citizens can vote in our elections, only count Americans in the census, and not draw congressional districts based on race. It's that simple. Vote every Democrat into retirement everywhere. All of them. Brandon Gill's got it right. All right, let's switch over to our X account. Follow us at American_media_. Reminder, as I bartend today and we're hanging out in this establishment, you can tip us Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, scrolling at the bottom of the screen, as well as Rumble Rant tips and Super Chat tips. You just tap it and swipe it, or however you do it. You go bing, 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 like Trump telling a story. Bing, 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 bing. And our Patreon is linked right here, pinned at the top of our X account. So you just click it and sign up to be a $5 or $10 a month sponsor. And it's super cool and it's super matters. If you want to see more of something, you support it. All right. Tim Tebow Foundation. You know, good guy. Look at how the NFL treated Tim Tebow versus how they treated Colin Kaepernick. And, well, yeah. This is from Tim Tebow.
Developing tonight, 47 children who were reported missing in Erie County have been found safe.
Yeah, and it's all thanks to New York's first ever missing child rescue operation. Channel 2's Chelsea Swift is joining us tonight in studio. And Chelsea, how were they actually able to find this many children?
Scott and Courtney, several groups came together to make this possible, including the Missing Persons Clearinghouse and the National Child Protection Task Force. Law enforcement professionals from 22 public and private entities partnered to provide investigative support to Amherst and Buffalo police departments in this search. The National Child Protection Task Force co-founder, Kevin Brunzetti, says this kind of operation is an opportunity for agencies to learn which strategies are most effective, adding it's important for law enforcement to interfere before something happens to these children.
Every time a child goes missing, the odds of them being assaulted or injured or criminalized in some way, or something really bad or evil happening to them, goes up exponentially. So the goal should always be to bring them home as fast as possible and then learn the why and work on the why. And that's why we did this.
Next, the missing child rescue operation.
Bravo. More of that, please. Less of whatever Biden, Obama, the Democrat deep state's been up to. Waymo weirdness.
Video here captured several of the self-driving cars just clogging up a neighborhood cul-de-sac. The people living in the Northwest Atlanta neighborhood say dozens end up circling their community. Channel 2 Steve Gelbach is on one street where they want the Waymos to stop.
It's almost every little cul-de-sac around our area, so I think it's a real problem.
Waymo after Waymo after Waymo enter this dead-end street, usually early in the morning.
I think yesterday morning we had 50 cars that came through between 6 and 7.
Neighbors on Battleview Drive started seeing the autonomous driverless cars 2 months ago, but the groupings and large number of Waymos just started circling in and out in the last couple weeks. They even shared video with us when neighbors used this little guy to put him right out here in the street to block the Waymos from getting into the cul-de-sac, and you can imagine what happened next.
We had at one point 8 Waymos that were stuck trying to figure out how to turn around.
The Waymos are empty and not picking anyone up, and parents are worried, not only calling it excessive, but dangerous.
We're families, we have small kids, we have animals and pets, we've got kids getting on the bus in the mornings, and it just doesn't feel safe to have that traffic.
Neighbors reached out to Waymo and have not got a response. They've also contacted their council member, representatives, and GDOT, and don't know what to do.
We would just like to see them stay on main traffic roads. I don't think there's any reason to be on small residential cul-de-sacs if they're not picking up somebody.
Steve Gelbach, Channel 2 Action News.
All right. Check out yesterday's show. CIA raided Tulsi's office for JFK MK Ultra? ? DNI denies. Trump in China. That's yesterday's show right there. ABC News says almost a third of the membership of the Congressional Black Caucus. Is there a Congressional White Caucus? Why are we doing this? America's one nation. You don't have separate nations per skin color. That's anti-American. A third of the membership of the Congressional Black Caucus are at risk of losing their seats through the 2028 election cycle, as Republicans in southern states where they control the legislature move swiftly to redraw congressional maps. The current congressional maps are illegal. Thanks, ABC. Here's Minnesota Democrat Representative Aisha Gomez telling Republican Representative Elliot Engen, well, she's angry. Go F yourself. How about that? Up in his face.
Whoa.
Okay. Oh, not go F himself. It's go effing go effing boot himself during a deranged sit-in after their radical gun control bill got bodied. She says, go take care of yourself. Always pitting one against the other. Hello, David. Thanks for being here. Everybody share the show link to your friends. Invite them all into the bar. We're past the midway point, digging through the news today. Hit Hit the like button. Make sure you smash the thumbs up like button, however you're watching. Pat Adams shows this video saying that Kamala Harris is now calling for Democrats to hold a no bad idea brainstorm. That's going to be great for her because she's got nothing but bad ideas. You know, ideas like abolishing the Electoral College and packing the Supreme Court. No, you tyrant. Stephen L. Miller says losing presidential candidate calling for the end of constitutional process for selecting the president. You know, it feels awfully fascist-y.
Say, look, this is a moment where there are no bad ideas. A no bad idea brainstorm is what I'd like to call it. And in that no bad ideas brainstorm, we talk about what we need to do and think about doing around the Electoral College.
Around the Electoral College.
We talk about the idea of Supreme Court reform, which includes expanding the Supreme Court.
Expanding the Supreme Court.
We invite a conversation about multi-members districts. We talk about, look, that if we win the Senate, which we should and we will.
You shouldn't and you won't.
Then the Senate Judiciary Committee should have rules that they put in place. So when
angry rules.
And these people come before.
She was not coached up on the, you know, it's better to point the thumb than it is to point the finger. Hillary told me that. But she's just not that good. She's just not that good. You see how it felt kind of comfortable the way I did it? See how this doesn't feel comfortable when I do it? She's not that good. Doesn't have good ideas.
Or as nominees to the Supreme Court and lie, that they are held to account and consequence, not just that somebody goes on cable news.
Yeah, I noticed that about her nose as well. I try not to be petty and mean and, well, look, I try to create humor and I just sort of do stream of consciousness here. The stuff I'm thinking. There's a lot of this show that I keep gated in, that I don't release. I just keep it in my head. But yeah, her nose is massive right now. Go side by side. Look at that. I don't recall that from before. It's just a really bad angle.
And says they lied, but that there are rules in place to actually penalize people for lying to a Senate Judiciary Committee. That we agree that it is right to have ethics rules for Supreme Court justices. And let's put those in place. Let's talk about statehood for Puerto Rico and D.C. These are the things I think that
in Greenland and Cuba
that we've got to do. We've
in Alberta
got to neutralize these red states from cheating.
Neutralize. Oh, that's rich. From cheating. You were cheating, doing something illegal by gerrymandering your districts to focus on race, to divide this country instead of unite it. You're the cheater. Your party is the party of cheaters. They just double down and triple down on their lies.
Including blue states expanding their maps. And all of this, I think,
almost every blue state has expanded their maps to the almost extreme. I think almost every blue state has abused this gerrymandering system to the max, to the point where the entire Northeast United States doesn't have any common sense representation. It's all Democrat.
Look, we got to fight fire with fire. These folks are playing to win. We got to play to win too.
Yeah, fire with fire. Seems like a call to violence from our former alleged vice president. I'd love for the information to come out to reveal new, solid proof that 2020 was just a bad nightmare. The blue states, more like blue states. Am I right? Am I right? It does look like she's getting more pale-faced.
say, look, this is a moment where
It might be a lighting thing. It might be a makeup thing. Or is this the same Kamala? Is this a different Kamala? Yeah, anyway. A Muse account put this out that Ken Paxton secures a huge win in the battle to save kids from unnecessary gender mutilation surgery. Attorney General Ken Paxton broke Texas Children's Hospital. $10 million fine. Every doctor who mutilated kids is fired. A detransition clinic opens to treat the victims. This is what an AG with a spine looks like and why we need to send him to Washington to fight for Texas. Vote Paxton. Attorney General Ken Paxton made history, he says, by securing a landmark healthcare fraud settlement that creates the nation's first ever detransition clinic and secures $10 million from the Texas Children's Hospital for transitioning kids. Good grief. Keir Starmer's in trouble because all the globalists are. You know why? Because they're abusive to the civil liberties of all humans.
Tomorrow's march in London is a reminder of what we're up against in the battle of our values. The organisers, including convicted thugs and racists, are peddling hatred and division. Plain and simple.
No, what's plain and simple is that you haven't been defending the people of your nation. You're a turncoat traitor. You've allowed an invasion of your nation. And calling that out is none of those dirty words you're going to try to slander people with. It's common sense. Nobody, Ohio State Buckeye fans living in a suburb outside of Columbus, certainly don't want 40,000 Michigan fans taking over their neighborhood and abusing their daughters, their wives, their parents, their grandparents, stealing funds meant for that community. That's what happened in, what was it outside of Columbus? Was it Somalia or it was Haitians? Nobody anywhere wants their community to be flooded with anybody from anywhere. A little bit of assimilation, a little bit of mixing in and making sure that people are adhering to the values of the citizens of that community. That's one thing. Keir Starmer, no, he's been overseeing a planned decline and an invasion, a takeover, a capitulation to and a surrender to an invading army. But he paints a drastically different picture.
Their goal is to convince people that Britain's problems are caused by those living alongside them.
Their problems are caused by those living alongside them. People that were not invited there, have no business being there, and are committing crimes. No, not every person. But one person is one too many. It should have never happened. If you vet the people properly and you know you're bringing in the people that are going to take care of themselves, not steal money from the public doles, and they don't have a criminal record and they're not doing anything bad, that's a different story, but that's not what you've done, which is why you're having the revolt, which is why you're going to be out of office soon.
But that is not the Britain that I know. This is a country built...
Britain that I know is the one that I've overthrown.
Built on decency, fairness, and respect.
Now, there's nothing respectful and there's nothing fair about flooding these communities in your country. None. Nothing. Nothing fair or respectful about that.
A country that is at its best when people from different backgrounds come together in common purpose.
You have done nothing to ensure that the people coming in are going to speak the language, be self-sufficient. You've run a criminal and medical background check to make sure that these people are not going to be coming here to steal your money. You only have a little bit. These grooming gangs all across England and all the crime, all the R's that have been happening. You've done nothing to ensure fairness.
This is our country.
No. It used to be until you allowed it to be invaded.
With a majority who share those values, a majority who may not always be as loud, but must always define who we are. So, my government will not stand in the way of peaceful protest, but we will act decisively against hatred.
Acting against hatred. Okay. Yeah, who defines that? People hate their Ohio State fandom community being overrun by 40,000 Michigan fans. Someone dumped them in there, and now they're stealing all your public funds and committing crimes. Not all of them, but enough of them. Because zero of that was happening until you did what you did, Keir Starmer.
We will use the full force of the law when...
Who defines hate? Hatred of ruining my community? Yeah, I hate ruining my community. Increased crime, increased homelessness, increased resources being needed that should be going to our community.
That hatred manifests as violence.
No. Hatred manifests in you being removed from office. Your party's been annihilated. You need to step aside.
And we will ban those coming into the UK who seek to stir it up.
Tyrant, we're going to ban people I disagree with.
As we have done already. Because this country belongs to all of us.
No, it belongs to the people of England. And you think you're some sort of global magistrate ruling by decree.
And I will not tolerate anyone who seeks to stand in the way of that.
Yeah, okay. He's a dope. Vote him out. Steve Schultz shared this. Says a nurse blows the lid off the COVID shot, explaining what happened in the hospitals as it happened. It's a 10-minute clip. I'm not going to play it, but kind of interesting. Gunther Eagleman says Tennessee Speaker of the House strips away every Democrat lawmaker who acted like a thug and trashed the chamber during the redistricting of all their committee assignments. This is how to fight back. Well done. After this whole debacle.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You stupid mother.
Find out. You're stripped of your committee assignments. Nick Sorter says Louisiana Senate passes the redrawn map, which will likely eliminate a Democrat seat in the U.S. House for the 26 midterms. Now it moves to the House, where it's expected to swiftly pass. Louisiana will soon be 5 Republican, 1 Democrat. Look at these. Look at the districting. I mean, this is such a weird Jenga Tetris. Looks like finding a mineral deposit sliding down a creek bed or hillside. Yeah, you have an area, you have a little area. What was that all about? There you go. Every state needs to do this now because your current maps don't work. Rod Martin says the Democrats may not survive the is it Calais or Calais? Calais. Calais? Calais or Calais? Anyway, Rod says the Democrats might not survive the Calais ruling. The Supreme Court's decision to curb race-based congressional districts strikes at the structural foundation of their House power. I've been counting 21 such districts. But by the American Spectator's count, 122 of the Democrats' 212 sits in majority-minority districts engineered along racial lines. This is not a small correction. It is an existential threat to their current model. Good. You shouldn't be dividing this country, constantly telling people because of the color of their skin that the other political party hates them. It's a lie, and you got to stop saying it. Matt Van Swole says, I've absolutely had it with the GOP. J.D. Vance is out there finding fraud everywhere. President Trump is cutting deals in China. Marco Rubio is pulling all-nighters, and the GOP can't even vote on the SAVE Act? What are the GOP doing? I agree. Andrew Colvett shares this on CNN. Disgraced former FBI Director James Comey claims that the FBI is under siege and admits that he is still having active conversations with personnel within the FBI.
Do you still talk to employees at the FBI regularly?
I do.
And are they afraid to be talking to you?
Yes, as a matter of fact. They're under siege. And
I think about them a lot. I worry about them a lot, both those who are still there and those who've been thrown out while loved ones are sick, while they're struggling financially. There's a lot of pain at the FBI and the FBI community right now, but it's not going to last forever.
Do you still?
He's got those tired eyes. All the time, you've got those tired eyes. All the time. Great album I want to recommend. Say Anything is the band. Is a Real Boy is the name of their album. The whole album is so catchy, so sing along. Yeah, Comey's got those tired eyes. Dina says it's weird to see the northeast part of America blue. But it should be. And it will be. Oh, blue, you say? Yeah. It's weird seeing all of that. But it's 40% Republican. With almost no representation. Dustin says Elon Musk just defended America better than every politician in America combined. Take a listen.
The good news, the history of China suggests that China is not acquisitive, meaning they're not going to go out and invade a whole bunch of countries. They do feel very strongly, so that's good. I mean, because a lot of very powerful countries have been acquisitive. The U.S. is also one of the rare cases that has not been acquisitive. Like after World War II, the U.S. could have basically taken over the world and any country. Like we got nukes, nobody else got nukes. We don't even have to lose soldiers. Which country do you want? And the United States could have taken over everything. Oh, wait, at will, and it didn't. And the United States actually helped rebuild countries. So it helped rebuild Europe, helped rebuild Japan. This is very unusual behavior, almost unprecedented. The U.S. did conspicuous acts of kindness, like the Berlin airlift, And I think, it's always like, well, America's done bad things. Well, of course, America's done bad things, but one needs to look at the whole track record. The good news, the history of China suggests.
You got to start defending America. That's the opposite of how Democrats feel. Here's Michigan House candidate Shelby Campbell, Democrat. She's since deleted this video.
Quit thanking the troops for sacrificing their lives. Let's start saying, hey, government, how about you go fight these wars if you decide? I don't want to thank these men and women who joined the military because they had no other option. Like, they didn't want to go to school. They didn't have the resources. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have people to, love them. And they go to the military. Military preys on vulnerable populations. Quit thinking.
Okay. I mean, while some of that is true, it's extremely narrow in scope because there's a lot. Talk to people who have served. Talk to them. How was their experience? Yeah, you have your bad stories, but you got a lot of good stories too. Nick Sorter reports that the U.S. Senate has barred members from receiving paychecks when the government shuts down. The only useful thing the Senate has done in a long time. Now, I hope this isn't just, it's going to pause the paychecks. It should say you forfeit that paycheck. A forfeit. It shouldn't just be you don't get it until, and then when you do, you get back pay. There should be a forfeiture. I don't know how this is written.
Mr. President, I know no further debate on the measure.
Without objection, the Senate will proceed to the measure.
Oh. Mr. President, I know of no further debate on the measure.
Anyway, that's the procedural. But I'd be curious about that point. Eric Daughtry reports the U.S. Supreme Court rules 9-0 that freight brokers can be held liable if they negligently hire unsafe trucking companies, including those with illegal alien and foreign drivers who violate CDL rules and cause accidents. LFG, start cracking down on the companies. The opinion delivered by Barrett confirms that federal law does not shield these brokers from state negligence lawsuits. This will likely help force brokers into being much more careful about which carriers they use because they want to avoid the lawsuits. Purge the CDL system. and hold all trucking companies liable. Non-English foreigners all over the roads needs to end. Yeah, that's Harjinder Singh. Not paying attention to ending lives. Well, it's a couple of people. Josh Preet Singh. 2 Singhs. I just have 2 Singhs I want to talk to you about. That guy at the center of yelling boy at the trooper in the State House in Tennessee. Breitbart News put this together and says, more code switching from Justin Pearson. Yes, he has multiple personalities.
We demand justice, equality, and fairness in Shelby County, Fayette County, McNairy County, Williamson County. Make it 15, 16, 17 counties. It don't matter.
It don't matter.
So you aren't just going to be campaigning in Shelby County or in District 9, the former district.
Hold on. So is there no back and forth? This is just, or does he sit down and sound different?
In Hickory Hill, in Whitehaven.
Oh, there you go. Okay, that's the code switching. He talks like that on the campaign stump, and this is him.
But it's also an opportunity to go into Fayette County, into McNairy County with the same message.
You know, some people have labeled you as a very left county. So how do you will your stances? Would you say you're a very leftist Democrat?
That I make, and I'm happy and proud about that. I do believe that everybody deserves health care, and if you think that's too leftist.
Yeah, right. Justin Pearson. Here's a report on that IED device. It appears to be true. Reported from Fox.
A grenade-type explosive device was found underwater at Big Creek Lake, the primary drinking water supply for the Mobile area. The Mobile area water and sewer system, MA, is saying divers found this improvised explosive device while surveying the lake's dam for routine repairs. A multi-agency bomb squad team, including the FBI, Mobile County Sheriff's Office, and state law enforcement, retrieved and safely destroyed it, as you just saw. MA says the drinking water supply was not affected. Big Creek Lake is federally designated critical infrastructure, and Homeland Security has been notified. We're trying to find out where the IED came from, if it's been there for some time, or if investigators think it was placed there. A grenade-type explosive device was found underwater.
I got my eyes on this, but I want every dam inspected. Elon says it's true, what C3 says here. To be eligible to win Best Picture in Hollywood at the Oscars, an event that I've bartended on multiple occasions at the Vanity Fair post-Oscar party specifically, or during Oscar party and post-party. To win a Best Picture, you have to have at least one non-white and non-straight lead or significant role. At least 30% minor roles to non-white and non-straight people. At least 2 departments headed by non-white, non-straight people. This is why Nolan did it. Coward. I guess that's about a new movie that's out. Is it The Odyssey? Is that what it is? I don't know. Kalshi Politics says Thomas Massie has regained the lead in Kentucky 04 Republican primary, the 4th district. He now has a 60% chance to win. All eyes on Massie. Check out our previous show about banning investment firms buying our single-family homes. A couple of posts from Tim Tebow. We played some of his stuff earlier about finding 47 missing children. He says, hard days reveal what easy days hide. Nobody's attitude gets tested on a good day. Nobody's faith gets proven when everything is working. Nobody's character shows up when the meeting goes well and the boss is happy and the project lands perfectly. That's just a good day. A hard day is where everything real lives. How you treat people when you're tired, how you respond when you're wronged. That's how you how you show up when showing up costs you something. That's the version of you that matters. That's a good point. Tim Tebow says there are at least 89,000 unknown children waiting. Let's get the Renewed Hope Act passed through Homeland funding and provide critical staffing and resources to HSI Cybercrime Center to fight online child SA material and safeguard boys and girls that are still suffering. Good. Elon responded with a Gary Tan reports Bernie Sanders and AOC introduced a bill to pause all AI data center construction, 300 plus local bills filed. Half of planned 2026 data centers facing delays or cancellation. Each one brings billions to local economies. The people who say they want American jobs are trying to block the biggest job creation engine since the interstate highway system. I'm going to have to do a deep dive on these data centers. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for being here, everybody. Yeah, Trash Panda says about those drivers, the CDLs. Yeah, amen. I drove 24 years over the road, never had an accident or been involved in any. Yeah, it's dicey out there. It's dicey. If you can't understand what the signs are saying and you don't, come on, stop it. You got to be competent to drive a vehicle, especially a big rig. Goodness. All right. Thank you all for being here. My shift is coming to a close, so I'm going to slide you the credit card tab hanging out here in the bar. If you look, the tally, I already ran it through the register, through the machine. Your tab is 0, but if you would like to donate or sign up to become just a, $5 or $10 tip a month, you do that on Patreon, The New American Media, Rumble, YouTube, The New American Media, or you can toss something right now, click the button into the Rumble rant tips and Super Chat tips. We also have Cash App and Venmo. That's my name, Brian Engelman. And PayPal is Fuzz Installment at yahoo.com. David says they seem like they only care about money when it comes to the data centers. Yeah, and there's not that many jobs either. So everything's a little weird. So stay alert, stay safe. Have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday at noon. Monday at noon, everybody. That is the game plan. Yeah, buy some merch. Shoot me a Venmo if you want to support the program. If you want some coasters here at this bar, I do the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Game 6 in Cleveland is tonight. Go Cavs, trying to close out the Pistons. Huge game. These are 4 wooden Ohio-made coasters for my show. They're $30 a piece. That includes shipping. Shoot me a Venmo with your address. Tell me if you want Ohio-shaped or circle-shaped. I'll do 2 for $50 if you bundle them both and say, I'll take both. Shoot me $50. And if you also want the pin for the Unhappy Hour, that's $25. So $75 for all this, or the pin on its own for $25. Shoot me a Venmo, put your address, and tell me what you want, and I'll ship it right out to you for that donation. If you want a mug, they're $40. The New American Media mug. I have my Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death mug because I was working outside earlier today. I have to sort of be careful with the New American Media mug because I like it. I don't want it to possibly get knocked over if I spin and I'm holding something that's a little longer behind me than I realize. So that is part of the reason why you see me with this mug as opposed to the New American Media mug. But if you want one, $40 donation. It's like PBS. If you want to see more Bert and Ernie, get yourself a tote bag. It's making a donation, but you're getting something for it. It's a fun way to help, fun way to donate, fun way to support independent journalism, independent media. And I'm honored that you enjoy this. Oh, you're saying the Preakness is this weekend. The Preakness is my weakness. Is it true that the horse that won the Kentucky Derby is not racing? I did read that. It's the first woman-trained horse to ever win. Cool. Can we just get back to training now? I don't want to focus on gender or skin color. Just congratulations. That's awesome for you. And Trash Panda still has an offer. All right. So right now, all right, Trash Panda, thank you. Let me put that on there. What is your offer is, what is it to sign up on Rumble? If you jump over on Rumble and get a mug, Trash Panda will pay half. So just shoot $20 on Venmo. You could just do this. Shoot $20 on Venmo for a mug. We'll do it half off. And if any of you do, if however many of you do, I'll shoot Trash Panda a message and go, hey, got a half off mug here. And he goes, cool, I'll cover the other half. So if you want a mug, they're $20. The New American Media mugs that I normally hold, but I didn't want to break. So why would you keep the horse out of the Preakness? Goodness. This is why women shouldn't be horse traders. They keep them out of the Preakness. No, I mean, I'm all in favor. I'm kidding. I'm all in favor of protecting the horse. And the horse that I bet on, Great White, bucked his jockey off, and they were concerned that it might have hurt its ankle. So it got eliminated from the race out of maybe an abundance of caution because he didn't want to see an injured horse do something. So look, if the training staff is saying that there's something that could harm the horse in this race, maybe they're not used to racing this soon, every couple of weeks or whatever. I get it. I understand. But very few people have a chance to compete for a Triple Crown. Why don't you do it? So I don't know. I have questions. Just to rest it. I mean, look, if the training team that knows the horse says that it needs that rest, then so be it. It's just disappointing because the Triple Crown that's a very exciting thing to root for in sports because we're constantly comparing current athletes, horses are athletes, current athletes to ghosts. Shohei Ohtani versus Babe Ruth. Wilt Chamberlain to Michael Jordan to LeBron James. One is playing, one is retired. I believe one is deceased, right? Man, I think so. Bill Russell. I'm trying to think of the greats that are gone. But you get the point. Secretariat did it in record time. Exactly. Well, anyway, enjoy the Preakness. Hit the thumbs up button, share the show with a friend, and I'll be back on noon. Signing out, noon on Monday. Signing out on behalf of everybody out there in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.